Demeter had only one child. You see, Demeter had been the consort of Zeus long before Hera came along, and they together had this daughter, Persephone. Persephone was beautiful. She was perfect in every way. Of course, she was a goddess, but her spirit was perfect. She was sweet and kind and loving and all the things that anybody would like to see in a child. As she grew up, she grew gradually toward womanhood. She began to look even more beautiful. She caught the eye of one of the gods, Hades, the king of the underworld. He wanted her for his wife. One day she was out playing in the field near the stream with her cousins, the nymphs, and she looked across the field and saw a narcissus blooming. Well, it wasn't the season for that. So she ran across the field away from her cousins. They couldn't leave the river, because they're nymphs. And she went over to the narcissus, and it was huge. There were flowers everywhere. They were beautiful, and the fragrance was so rich and deep, it was intoxicating. She reached out, she plucked a flower and brought it to her nose. And just at that moment, the earth next to her opened up, and up came a chariot pulled by 6 black horses. And in the chariot was Hades himself. Hades said, my love, come with me. And he snatched her by the waist, pulled her into the chariot, and turned the chariot and went down back into the earth. It closed over. The nymphs couldn't help her. They were tied to the river. But there was someone who saw. Hecate, the old crone, the woman at the crossroads. Hecate heard the earth, felt the earth shake, heard the rumbling. So she wasn't far away. She came over just in time to see the chariot going back under the earth with Persephone in it. In the meantime, Demeter came running that way, and she wanted to know where her daughter was. She asked the nymphs. They couldn't tell her because they couldn't see from where they were. They just knew she was gone. She looked everywhere. She went around the whole world looking for her daughter, her beloved daughter. She could not lose her only child. And as she searched, she grew more and more morose, sadder and sadder. And you see, Demeter is a goddess of fertility. She makes the seeds grow, all the plants to live. And when she does, we have food. But when she doesn't, it dies. And so do humans. Well, she ran into Hecate in her search, and Hecate told her, I believe it was Hades that took your daughter. Let's ask the sun what he thinks. So they went to the sun, and the sun said, yes, I saw it all. And not only that, I know that Hades asked Zeus, her father, if he could marry her, and he granted that. Demeter was furious. Zeus had granted permission to Hades to take her daughter without consulting her. And she went to Zeus and she said, I will not grow anything. Nothing will live as long as my daughter is gone. And then she went out into the world weeping, depressed, sad, and plants died, food died, the animals began to die, and then the people began to die. And finally, Zeus got the picture. He was going to have to do something. So he called his messenger god, Hermes, to him. He said, Hermes, go down to Hades. Tell him We must work something out so that Demeter will have Persephone again. Hermes went. When it came to Hades, it seemed that although Persephone looked a little bit pale and wan, she was now a queen, and she had a crown and a throne and sat next to her husband, Hades. And so Hermes talked to her and said, I want to help you. I want to bring you back. And he argued with Hades and explained that Zeus demanded it. Hades said, very well. But he turned to Persephone and he handed her a pomegranate. He said, eat of this pomegranate. She said, you know I cannot eat of anything here. I will have to return if I do. Yes, eat. And I guess Persephone had time to get to know Hades, and as cold as he was, he loved her and she cared for him. So she ate 6 of those pomegranate seeds. Hermes took her back up to the surface and to the heavens, and she was rejoined with her mother Demeter. They were overjoyed as they hugged each other, and they kissed each other, and Demeter relented, and everything began to grow. The plants, the trees, there was fruit again, and grain, and everything that we need to live, and all was well. But there was a catch. You see, because she ate the pomegranates, Persephone would have to go back to the underworld. And they worked out an agreement that for half the year she would stay with her mother on Earth, and for half she would go back into the underworld and she would rule as the queen, greeting all who came after death. It worked out well. It kind of explains why we have winter, because when she was gone, Demeter grieved and nothing grew.